Hi Year 8, in this video we're going to look at how to create column graphs in Excel. You need to open up the same file that you should have saved previously when we did the frequency tables, because we're actually going to use those frequency tables from before. This time we need to be in the column graphs tab, so that's where you need to be for us to complete this one. And let's get started. It says the method by which students from a particular class traveled to school on a particular day was recorded and organized into a frequency table. It says copy and paste your distribution table from the previous spreadsheet here. So what we need to do is we need to go back to frequency tables. And this is the one that we made earlier in the previous video. You just need to highlight the whole thing by either clicking and dragging or by selecting the first top left cell and then shift and holding down shift while you go across and down to select the whole table. And then we're just going to copy, so Control C, and then we're just going to paste it in here. Okay, now we want to create the question says create a column graph for this data. So what I'm going to do is, again, I need to highlight my table. Now I don't need the total row, so I'm not going to highlight the total. Probably don't even need the headers either, but we can adjust those in a minute. So I've highlighted my data and I'm going to go to insert, and you'll see here where it says charts, this whole section gives me a range of different graphs that I can insert into my Excel file here. Now I want to do a column graph because that's what it's asked me to do. A couple different ways I can do this. I can go to recommended charts, and you'll see that under this recommended charts tab here, a column graph is one of the first ones that comes up. There's also sector graphs, bar charts, and a funnel. Not even sure what that one is. So I can select my column graph from here. The other place I can go is to this little icon here, which says insert column or bar chart, and I can choose them from here. The good thing about this option is that I can hover over each one and start to see what it's going to look like. And I can make a decision from there. I don't want a 3D column graph, and I don't want a bar chart. I want it to be a 2D column, so that leaves me with these three options here. And I don't want the last one because it's 100% on the vertical axis. I actually want frequency on the vertical axis, so it's either of these two, and it looks like the only difference between those is the width of the column. I'm going to go with the second one because I like the column to be a little bit wider. Once I've done that, you'll notice that there's an extra tab at the top when my chart is selected, so you can see that it's got the dots around the outside showing that it's been selected. There's a tab that says chart design, and under that I can change, even though I've just chosen a basic design, I can change the design of my chart again just by hovering over the top. Now some of these are better than others. For example, this one, there's no vertical axis there. Yes, it has the frequency on the columns, but from what we've learned in our booklet, our column graph should have a horizontal axis, a vertical axis. The other thing that we've learned in the booklet is that we need to have our axes labeled, so it should be showing me what my axes are, and I need to have a title. At the moment, it's given me a title of frequency, which is incorrect. I'll need to change that, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I'm not going to choose that one because it doesn't have a vertical axis. That one's not too bad. I actually do like that design. That's the one I usually choose, but you can just hover over each one and make a decision. I might just choose that one there. Now, you'll notice it doesn't have all the things I want. It's got an incorrect title. It doesn't have an x-axis label. It doesn't have a y-axis label either. But what I can actually do is I can add those elements in. When you go to, well, there's a couple different ways. If I go to quick layout, again, I can hover over some of these and it will change the layout. Some of them might already have an axis title, so you can use that. Some of them might not. So you can see this one here. It's got the axis titles on there that need to be filled in, but there's something going on just in that walk column where it says frequency 2, which I don't really want that to be there. So you can just hover over each one and decide, but probably the best way to do it is this one here where it says add chart element. In this I can add specifically what I want. So I want to add the primary horizontal axis title, and in this case, what are these data scores here? They are the methods of travel, and we can see that from our table. The title on my table was method of travel, so I'm going to write method of travel. Now I go back to add chart element, and I want to put in my vertical axis title. Now you can see that this one's already grayed out because I put it in. If I hover over it, disappears. That shows you what it would look like if I take it off again. So whenever you go to one of them and it's already grayed out, so see how I've clicked chart title and it says above chart and it's grayed out, it's because it already exists on the chart. Okay, if I hover over it, well, I thought it was going to disappear, but it doesn't. But that's what it means when it's grayed out. So you can see here, the primary horizontal is grayed out, meaning it's already on the graph. I want to add the primary vertical. And this one should be the frequency, so I need to change that there. Frequency. Now the title of my graph shouldn't be frequency. The title of my graph should be what the data is showing. In this case, it's showing the method of travel to school by students. So I'm going to write method of travel by students to school. And that looks pretty much done to me. It's got a heading, it's got axes titles. In terms of the column graph, it meets all of the things that we've talked about in the booklet, so it's pretty much complete. What I do want to do though is just put it in this gap under here because I don't want it there, so I'm just going to select it and then I can just drag it down and put it where I want it in my spreadsheet, which is down here. Now what you will need to do is you can just select it and the booklet says to screenshot it, but you can just copy and paste it into your OneNote so that we can see it. Okay. Now again, you're going to try example 2 for yourself. Following the exact same steps that I just did, you're going to copy and paste your frequency table from the previous spreadsheet, which should be in here now. So the number of siblings and the frequency, the one you did in the previous activity. So you're going to copy and paste that in there. And again, you're just going to highlight it, go to insert, you can go to recommended charts or you can go to the charts here. This one's doing it slightly differently. I might just go to recommended charts, might be better because it was doing it in a bit of a different way that we didn't want, and this is the type of chart that we want here. So you can just select it there on the left hand side, click OK. After that, I'm going to leave the rest to you to be able to go and change the title, add the axes labels, and just make sure it has all of the elements that it needs. And then again, you're going to copy and paste it or screenshot it into your OneNote. The instructions are in your booklet for your teacher to be able to check it.